Mario ROM hacks are popular from all over the internet and all over the history of video games. From Kaizo Mario World to newer Super Mario Bros. Wii, most of these ROM hacks are created to add things to the games that people love. So why don't we just add a character to the game? You ever wanted to play Super Mario Bros? Well, how about Super Wario Bros? In this ROM hack, you play as Wario. Yeah, that's it. Look, this is one of those classic character swap ROM hacks. There are so many ROM hacks out in the world, really for any game, that will just swap the main character to any other character to just make the game slightly more interesting. Of course, it's a lot harder with the original Super Mario Bros., but can't you tell that's Wario? Holy crap, this is where things get interesting. This is pretty much exactly the same as the Wario mod, except it's Sonic the Hedgehog inside Super Mario World. I had to find this hack on some random Flash Games website, so that's how you know this one's gonna be good. But there's nothing different about this ROM hack, it's literally just Sonic in Super Mario World. There's gotta be something more interesting than this.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
This is where things get more interesting. Now, I know today I'm only supposed to be talking about Mario ROM hacks, but putting Mario characters in Sonic counts, right? This ROM hack is Super Mario Bros. Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog, and you know what? This is kind of fun. It's not the best ROM hack in the world, that's what's next, but this is certainly an interesting way to experience the first Sonic the Hedgehog. It's kind of the opposite to the bootleg game Samari, which is Mario in Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's on the NES, which I guess is a little bit more interesting. But the more interesting ROM hack is Yoshi in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and my god, this is the greatest ROM hack for a Sonic game I think I've ever played. So you know Yoshi's Island, right? Well, imagine those controls put into Sonic the Hedgehog 2 to create quite possibly the most interesting way to play a Sonic the Hedgehog game. All the controls from Yoshi's Island are in this hack of Sonic 2. The whole bubble mechanic from the original game is still here, but it's slightly different. Instead of the whole running out of time seen in Yoshi's Island, rings are thrown out of the bubble, with you needing to collect rings in order to make sure baby Sonic can stay in the bubble as much as possible. This also means you can swallow all the enemies to give yourselves eggs, and use those eggs to throw them and kill other things, or do whatever. You also have a ground pound, which is the way you get the TVs with the rings and power-ups in it. It just makes this game such a unique way to combine all of these elements into one big game. To beat the first boss, you of course need a ground pound on Eggman, but the chemical plant boss is where things get a hell of a lot more interesting. Instead of just jumping up and hitting Eggman, you need to swallow the enemy that it plops out, turn it into an egg, and throw it at the boss. This made this boss so much more interesting than just jumping and hitting Eggman. It's such a cool way to do this. And that's the great thing about ROM hacks. But you can be a lot more creative than just adding a silly little character to the game. And one of the most popular games to do it with is Super Mario 64, one of the most popular games for the Nintendo 64. A launch title for the Nintendo 64 alongside Pilot Wings 64, and one of the most modded games ever created. I mean, look at this game. This game is full of so much life, but there could be so much more to add. Just like how the ROM hacker K's created a ROM hack known as Super Mario 64 Land. A spin on Super Mario 3D Land and World for the 3DS and Wii U, but translated onto the Nintendo 64 in the best way possible. I didn't have a lot of time to play this game, with the game having a whole tutorial stage that mainly focuses on the tricks that you can do in Super Mario 64. Which I'm not very good at. But the actual levels and the world map, they're just incredible. It really shows how Super Mario 64 can shine if done correctly. Not that the original version of Super Mario 64 doesn't shine, and luckily we get to see more of Super Mario 64 shine with Super Mario Bros. 64. Super Mario Bros. 64 is another hack done by K's that just brings Super Mario Bros. For the NES over to the Super Mario 64 engine. The graphics are the same, the jumps are higher, and most pipes don't work, but it's exactly what you think when you hear Super Mario Bros. 64. You can actually play as 4 different characters: Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi. However, when I tried Waluigi, the textures kinda broke, but that's probably my fault. Mario is the hard difficulty, with each character being a different difficulty. But other than all of that, Super Mario Bros. 64 is certainly a way to experience the original Super Mario Bros., but you're most likely better off playing the game for the original NES or the Famicom. But if you really want to play this version, I don't know, do it, I'm not in charge of you. Speaking of Super Mario Bros., the original actually has its own ROM hacks too. Back in the 1980s, Nintendo teamed up with Fuji Television to create All Night Nippon's Super Mario Bros. For the Famicom disk system to bring the hosts of the radio show All Night Nippon into the Mario universe. This game happens to actually just be a ROM hack for Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and brings back some of the original Super Mario Bros. Levels alongside some from Versus Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. This game is pretty identical to Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and Versus, and is basically just a mashup of all three games, but it also replaces a lot of the enemies in the game with the hosts of All Night Nippon. A pretty basic ROM hack, but an interesting one for sure. Around this same time, an original game based off of Super Mario Bros. Was being developed by Hudson Soft for Japanese home computers that went by the name of Super Mario Bros. Special. Sometimes it's confused for being a port of the original, which to be fair, it started development as a port of the original, but as development went on, it became something completely different. It just happened to look the same and use the same graphics. But due to it being on a home computer, the game was slow and it sucked.
Look, the original game was not made for home computers. It uses the power of the NES, so it's not going to be that great. It's just not powerful enough.
But then one day, 30 years after the original came out, a ROM hack for the original Super Mario Bros. Known as the 30th anniversary version of Super Mario Bros. Special released, and it's quite possibly the best way to play this game today. The ROM hack fixes the scrolling and a lot of other issues in the game to truly make the 5th alternate version of Super Mario Bros. Playable once again. This is actually the version I tried when I talked about it back in November 2023, and it was just so much fun. The new power-ups added to the original game and the levels and so much more, they're just fantastic. I would never recommend the original version of the game, but if you really want to try Super Mario Bros. Special, I definitely recommend the 30th anniversary ROM hack. Super Mario 64 Star Road. One of the most popular Mario ROM hacks ever created. It's well known for being the ultimate Mario ROM hack, also coming from the Mario ROM hacker case, and it's one of his first ROM hacks that he's ever made. This ROM hack combines elements from the newer Mario games, like literally having the music from the new Super Mario Bros. Games, but combining it with the style and gameplay of Super Mario 64. And my god, this is incredible. I had trouble setting the game up with the popular emulator Project 64, but once I eventually got it set up, it worked so well. Like, of course, I did find the levels slightly difficult. I really only played the first one and kept failing at the parkour that was found in the first level, and the boss was just the same boss from the original Super Mario 64. But faster, but I still liked it. Super Mario 64 Star Road is one of those classic mods that is clearly meant to be a sequel to the original game made by a fan, as it was never a direct sequel to Super Mario 64, going straight into Super Mario Sunshine. But Star Road definitely helps scratch that itch for having a Super Mario 64 sequel. How fun!
Have you ever wanted to play a ridiculously difficult Mario game? Well, ROM hackers have you covered.
Kaizo Mario World is one of the hardest ROM hacks I have ever played. I couldn't even get past the first level. Kaizo is a term to describe levels that are insanely hard that really don't need to exist. And this term started with this very ROM hack. It's a Japanese ROM hack that came out in 2007, and it honestly changed ROM hacking forever. Kaizo Mario World was certainly not the first hard ROM hack for Super Mario World, but it is truly the most iconic one ever created. People use the term Kaizo to describe any hard ROM hack ever created, like some ones that they've made for earlier Mario games or ones that they've made for newer Mario games, and they also use it to describe the hard levels in Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 2. These levels are always straight up impossible for the normal player, but to experts on the physics of Super Mario World, this is their bread and butter. However, Kaizo Mario World was not the only ROM hack to come out of this Japanese creator. There was also Kaizo Mario World 2.
You've gotta be kidding me!
This game is more of the same, just with a different world map, but the levels are just as hard as ever, and that's not even bringing up Kaizo Mario World 3. Yes, there's a third one, which is harder again. I'm so sick of... Oh dang. Baby Kaizo World is literally the same as the other Kaizo games, but instead of throwing you straight into it, it actually tries to teach you how to play Kaizo levels. Look, this game was really fun, but I'm just not good at Kaizo, and I've learned to accept it, dang it! If you're looking for something more basic, then check out... Oh god, please no. Return to Dinosaur Land, such a fantastic semi-sequel to Super Mario World. Obviously the real sequel to Super Mario World according to Nintendo was Yoshi's Island, but this game truly tries to bring back what was so fantastic about the original version of Super Mario World. This ROM hack is world renowned for being really good. But do you want to know what I think? Oh, do ya? It's kinda stupid. Look, what this ROM hack is basically just the original levels from Super Mario World but remade. But there's some of the most stupid puzzles I've ever seen. You know how in Super Mario World there's some levels that have multiple exits just to be funny? There's at least one of these in every single world in the game, and they're all extremely hidden alternate exits. I hate this so much! For World 1, you need to complete level 3, then complete level 4, then make sure you have a cape, then go back to level 3, hope you don't lose said cape, as there's no possible way to get a cape in level 3. But then if you fail, you go back to level 4, discover an infinite 1-up glitch, get a cape, complete the level, go back to level 3, and repeat over and over again until you finally manage to get the key in the hole in level 3. And then World 2 just does the same thing. I don't even know where the secret exit is! What the hell? Who designed this game?
Which is why I introduced the Return to Dinosaur Island helpline! Looks like we got our first caller! Hello?
Hey, how do you complete the secret in World 2-3?
Well, that's pretty simple.
What you're gonna do is play the level normally, go to the first ghost house, be confused as to why it's so easy, go back to 2-3, play the level over again, watch a YouTube tutorial and find out you need to use the awful Lakitu controls to fly under the goal, then get a key and complete the level normally.
Got it?
Mario is missing. Done right. Remember Mario is Missing back on the NES, SNES, and MS-DOS? It's an educational game made to teach you about the world as Luigi. It's the very first game where Luigi is the central character, but it's also kinda bad. Mario is Missing done right is a ROM hack for Super Mario World that turns this game into a platformer game. It's one of the best ways of translating a game that really wasn't that good into a game that's just a fantastic representation of what if Mario was actually missing. I didn't get to play this one much, but I really think this game works just damn well. Of course, you have the physics of Luigi, to the point where I'm pretty sure it was broken as these physics weren't built into the original version of Super Mario World. But I think they did as well as they could possibly do. The levels also use Super Mario Bros. 3 graphics for some reason. Even though it's a ROM hack for Super Mario World, I think it's pretty cool, but it's just a strange addition. Most of the levels are your basic Mario levels. It's really not that different for a Mario game. And of course, the ROM hack doesn't have any of the educational stuff from the original game. I really think this is a ROM hack that you should check out. New Super Mario Bros., a series well known for being generic after the first game on the DS. I personally quite like all of the games except for New Super Mario Bros. U, they're kind of a guilty pleasure. But have you ever wanted to combine Super Mario Bros. 2, specifically the advanced version of Super Mario Bros. 2, into the New Super Mario series? Oh, no? Well, New Super Mario Advance is just Mario 2. There's not that much to talk about. The castle is mostly original until the boss fight, which is exactly the same as the new Super Mario Bros. Boss fight, but it's just basically a remixed Super Mario Bros. 2 that happens to run in the new Super Mario Bros. Engine because someone was really bored one day. But when we move over to the next new Super game, we'll get to see one of my favorite Mario ROM hacks ever created. Newer Super Mario Bros. Wii, a modded sequel for New Super Mario Bros. Wii, adds some of the best things I have ever seen into New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This ROM hack is clearly inspired by Super Mario World and even took a few elements from Super Mario Galaxy, and put it into a semi-modern 2D Mario game, along with fantastic music and fantastic new graphics. But it created what I would consider to be the best Mario ROM hack ever created, and the best one I've ever played.
Newer Super Mario Bros. Wii is just such a classic. I love that damn thing. Looks like we got another caller. Hello.
Hey, how do you complete, World 2, Level 4? How do you complete that one?
The ghost house?
Yeah, that one.
Pretend you're playing the other ghost house by jumping on invisible blocks.
Can I go back to talking about newer Super Mario Bros. Wii now?
Wait, what?
I remember playing this game back on my Wii using the VODS Channel that you would get after hacking a Wii. And because at the time I only had borrowed New Super Mario Bros. Wii from a video store like Blockbuster, I'd have to borrow the game over and over again so I could play newer Super Mario Bros. Wii because I loved it so much. Each world being connected, everything about it is just incredible. The transition between World 2 and World 3 being right next to each other, I think it's just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Every single thing about newer Super Mario Bros. Wii just fits so well. The level designs are a lot more unique compared to the new Super Wii game. The world map is more interesting. Every single thing about the game is just so good. I really think if I took the time to complete the entire game, I'd fall in love with it even more.
And look, I didn't get to cover some of the most iconic Mario ROM hacks today. But maybe we could do that some other time. So if you want to tell me what ROM hacks I should try, I'd really appreciate that. So hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and it looks like we've got another annoying caller. Hello?
How do you beat the secret exit in World 3-4?
I don't know, figure it out yourself.
Screw you, His Mario.
His Mario. That's a weird name. Yellow?
You're fired.
But it's my company!
Mario ROM hacks are some of the greatest things ever made. They completely change what a Mario game can be. From fixing parts of games like adding color or restoring something that was removed in a remake, some of these ROM hacks are incredible and have something for everyone.
So today, I'm going to talk to you about some of the best Super Mario ROM hacks that I've found within the past year. We're mainly talking ROM hacks from the 2D Mario games, specifically Mario 1, 2, 3 and World. But I also chucked in a few others, just because I thought you'd like it. So hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and let's talk about some Super Mario ROM hacks.
Now we've all played Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2 and Super Mario Land 3, right? Some of the most classic Game Boy games out there, but they've always had one massive problem. Can you notice it? I mean, it's right in your face. Surely you can notice it. There's no color.
Oh, that is not what I thought you were gonna say.
Super Mario Land was obviously not in color due to it being on the Game Boy. I mean, that's just what the Game Boy is. It has no color. But luckily, ROM hackers figured out how to make the Mario Land games in color. Super Mario Land DX is the first one that obviously is a ROM hack of Super Mario Land, and it makes the entire game in color. And to be honest, the game actually looks insanely better with color. Like, it's still Super Mario Land, so it's not the greatest game of all time, but Super Mario Land really needed this upgrade. It actually makes the game look up to code with other Mario games of this era, but everything is still kinda small and it still acts a bit weird. But luckily, we can move over to Super Mario Land 2, which actually has graphics that look like a Mario game. And with this DX mod,
it makes the game literally look like a 2D home console Mario.
It's not perfect or anything, the game obviously still has that Game Boy charm, but just look at it, that's a new Mario game. Oh, and also, in case you weren't looking at the screen, yeah, in this ROM hack you can actually also play as Luigi within Super Mario Land 2. It's quite a unique spin on what Super Mario Land 2 has to offer. I think I'm really going to enjoy playing through this ROM hack when I have the chance to fully play it.
By the way, if you're looking for any of these ROM hacks, just scroll down to the description, I have them all listed there. While you're there, there's this little button. I think you should press it. The subscribe button. You can also press the join button, but press the subscribe button, definitely.
But Super Mario Land 2 isn't the end of the Mario Land series. There was of course Super Mario Land 3, otherwise known as Wario Land. And this one has a DX ROM hack version too. Now if I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really played that much of Wario Land to really have an opinion on this game, but I will say I do like the colors they've chosen. I think for the whole Land trilogy, they could do with a complete modern remake, but for now, these are the best way to play these games. And if someone could figure out how to make a color version of Virtual Boy Wario Land, I'd like that, please, but I don't know how possible it is. Please. Thank you. But speaking of making things the best way to play them, the Super Mario Advance games on the Game Boy Advance. These games are already some of the best ways to play Super Mario Bros. 2, 3, World and Yoshi's Island, but for at least Mario 2, World and Yoshi's Island, if you were to play them on an actual Game Boy Advance, you'd know that the colours didn't really look all that good, but that was done to accommodate for the lack of the backlight on the original model of the Game Boy Advance. However, by the time Super Mario Advance 4 came out, which was their version of Super Mario Bros. 3, the Game Boy Advance SP had come out and added a backlight, making it pretty obviously look so much better than the earlier Advance games, and making the earlier ones look like they had to be super bright in order to make them look visible. Well, luckily fans took it upon themselves to completely rework the colouring within these first 3 games, leading to colour restorations of the first 3 games in the Super Mario Advance series, and these look so much better. Of course, these are still the Game Boy Advance versions, but now it doesn't look like some cheap portable version of the SNES games. These just look like the SNES games. It looks incredible. If we're also looking for fixes within games, there's a ROM hack that fixes the bricks in Super Mario All-Stars.
Very famously, the bricks within the Super Mario All-Stars version of Super Mario Bros. Just aren't right. But this ROM hack fixes it and makes it actually work very well.
This ROM hack is a must-have if you're going to play Super Mario Bros. Within Super Mario All-Stars. It actually makes the game playable. I never realized how much of a difference this would make, but it makes the game not feel as weird as it does within Super Mario All-Stars. Like, I always knew that the bricks were weird in All-Stars, but I never realized how much fixing them would make the game just feel better.
By the way, most of these ROM hacks came from a suggestion from Retro T-Bones in the comments section of the previous time I talked about ROM hacks, so thank you for the suggestions.
Another ROM hack that kinda attempts to fix graphics is of course Super Mario Bros. DX. No, not the Game Boy Color game Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Super Mario Bros. DX reimagines the first Super Mario Bros. As if it was made after or around Super Mario Bros. 3 with better graphics than what appears within the first Super Mario Bros. It's quite a cool ROM hack, but I think I still prefer the original graphics. I don't know, whenever I look at this game I feel like it just needs the original graphics. That's another one of the reasons I'm not a fan of the All-Stars version. I just don't really like the new graphics in the All-Stars version, even though in Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3 I quite like the graphics that appear in that one. In Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, I just think the original graphics work better, but maybe that's just me. This ROM hack still makes the game look good though, all things considered.
But sometimes you just want to play a Mario game that you've never played before. I got you, I feel you. And I think I have some of the ROM hacks just for you.
Let's start off with one that's already pretty playable, but still kinda cool. VODS Super Mario Bros. Is the arcade version of Super Mario Bros. Released back in 1986. VODS Super Mario Bros. Is the arcade game that would eventually go on to inspire the creation of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, being a remix of the original game. You can play the arcade version already on the Nintendo Switch through Arcade Archives, which I've played before, but there's also a ROM hack for the arcade game that unlocks the game, while also giving you more options to be able to play it. So for anyone that wants to try out VODS Super Mario Bros., I think this is a great way, and if not the best way to do it. And considering it gives you more options than the official re-release of the game, just play this version. You just need a legal copy of the arcade game, which can't be that hard to get, right?
Right?
That's what I thought. Anyway, another semi-easy game to still play is the Japanese exclusive Super Famicom game Mario & Wario. Mario & Wario was made for the Super Famicom to be used with the Super Famicom mouse, but for some reason it's fully in English despite it being a Japanese exclusive. So it's always been this game that just never released outside Japan that people really wanted to play. And even if you could play it, you needed an SNES mouse. Well, fear not, fans have created a way to play Mario & Wario without the mouse. This version of the game is quite cool. Maybe one day I'll play through the full thing with this ROM hack, because I just can't find an SNES mouse anywhere for an affordable price, because I actually own Mario & Wario. But one game that I've always wanted to play, but just has been out of reach, is something known as BS Super Mario USA. Made for the Satellaview add-on for the Super Famicom, VS Super Mario USA is a sequel to the American Super Mario Bros. 2, known in Japan as Super Mario USA. There's news features, a new plot, and more. Now I know this game really wasn't that exciting, but I still wanted to see what was different about this game. Well, luckily, once again ROM hackers have come to the rescue and allow you to completely play BS Super Mario USA with fixed audio and the such. Of course, this is still missing all the extra radio audio that would come out of the Satellaview, but it's such a good way of experiencing this lost Mario game, even if it's just Super Mario Bros. 2 with a new coat of paint.
One of the most popular types of ROM hacks is where you switch the main character that you play as within the game. Last time we did this, I spoke about a ROM hack that put Wario in the original Super Mario Bros. Called Super Wario Bros. And then I covered another one called Sonic the Hedgehog in Super Mario World. But what if we put Sonic in Super Mario Brothers?
This model just looks weird, man. Like, yeah, it's Sonic the Hedgehog in Super Mario Bros. It is exactly what it's described as, but that doesn't make Sonic look any less weird. Of course, this is because the model in Super Mario Bros. Has to be that specific height and stuff, otherwise I imagine it'd just bug out like hell. But it just looks kind of funny. You know what else is funny? Making Princess Peach the main character. Yeah, so this ROM hack makes Princess Peach the main character of Super Mario Bros. And this ROM hack really works. This ROM hack honestly feels almost official. Like, it feels as if the model they use of Princess Peach would be used if this was like an official Nintendo game. Like, this just, it feels official even though I know it isn't. The game is of course exactly the same, I don't know what you were expecting. But Princess Peach in Super Mario Bros. Is such a fun new way to experience the game, even if it adds such a minor thing. And of course, at the end of the game, you don't save Peach, you save Mario. Nice touch. This is what Luigi would look like if he was in Super Mario World. Hey, wait a minute. This is actually a completely new ROM hack called Super Luigi Land, which imagines what Luigi was up to during the events of the first Super Mario Land. This ROM hack has some brilliant graphics, man. Most of the graphics were completely redone to fit in this new art style. The A coins from Super Mario Advance 2 were added as the main collectible, and most of the music was completely redone too. The Luigi model is completely new and different to what was in Super Mario World, but everything from Super Mario World is still here. The world map, the way the levels end, everything's still the same, just with a brand new coat of paint that just works so damn well. A lot of the levels have little secret exits, which I didn't end up finding, but I still appreciated the option. One thing that was changed between Super Mario World and Super Luigi Land was the way the fire flower works. In Super Mario World, when you shoot a fireball, the ball bounces across the ground. However, in Super Luigi Land, the fireball is just sent in a straight line. At first, I wasn't really a fan of the way the fireball worked. I thought it was just a really strange addition that really didn't need to be added. But once I worked out how to use it, I actually think it was a fantastic change. It just makes you think different when you play throughout the game, thinking about how you use it. I appreciate a game that makes me think. Another thing that's different is that Goombas act the same way they do in the other games. Or the Goombas are added back to this game, I guess, because in Super Mario World, the Goombas are actually Galoombas, but whatever, you get the idea. You jump on them, and they die. Simple. Super Luigi Land is a masterclass when it comes to making a Mario ROM hack, and I appreciate the way it took what Super Mario World had done and put their own little spin on it. Fantastic job, Super Luigi Land.
Next, I think we have to talk about one of the most popular ROM hacks ever created. Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix completely reinvents what Super Mario Bros. 3 is, while also adding some stuff from the legacy of the Super Mario franchise.
Firstly, you get to choose what character you want to play as between Mario, Luigi, and Toad. The first world has you playing through the levels from the original Super Mario Bros., and star coins from new Super Mario Bros. Have been added. Yeah, instead of getting those power-up cards at the end of each level has 3 star coins that you can collect through it, with each level actually just ending with a flagpole like the original Super Mario Bros. It's quite a unique spin on Super Mario Bros. 3, and I can't wait to play more of Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. In case you want to see me playing through Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix, I'll be playing it over on the VODS Mario Gold channel very soon. Make sure to go over there to watch me play through the ROM hack for the very first time. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I will say one complaint about Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix is that it kinda slows down at some points, but maybe that's just the emulator I was using? I'm not sure. But still, it's an incredible ROM hack that honestly deserves its own video to completely talk about. There's just so much to mention, and I only played World 1. Back to a more basic ROM hack, Super Super Mario World 30th Anniversary Edition is an interesting one. It basically recreates Super Mario Advance 2 on the SNES version of Super Mario World, like adding back the opening cutscene and even adding Mario Bros. Classic, which works quite well in this game. I was quite surprised at how well it worked. This ROM hack also adds a hard mode, which adds some more difficult parts to the original game, so if you want a harder version of Super Mario World, but not a Kaizo ROM hack, this is the one for you. It's a lot of fun and could be quite fun to visit if you're a master of the original Super Mario World.
But moving over back to some more original adventures, Donkey Kong 4!
Now what do I mean by Donkey Kong 4? Do I mean some sort of ROM hack for the original Donkey Kong trilogy? No! I mean a 2D platformer that's a ROM hack of Super Mario World that's a part of a series of ROM hacks called Donkey Kong that are inspired by the arcade games. So what this ROM hack does, along with the other ones in the series, is imagine if the Donkey Kong arcade games were actually 2D platformers, all about you having to fight Donkey Kong. And I quite like the look of this one. It's very interesting seeing 8-bit graphics in an SNES game, a console well known for having 16-bit graphics, but it's still pretty fun. I really enjoyed the way the ROM hack used things from the original arcade games, such as the barrels, and imagined them in a 2D Mario plane. To be fair, barrels were also in Super Mario Bros. Special for Japanese PCs, but they make a lot more sense being in this ROM hack. I should really try out the previous 3 in the series, but for now, Donkey Kong 4 is quite a cool ROM hack to check out if you're looking for something simple, but something fun.
Now, have you ever imagined the Wario Land games acting more like Mario games and being on the SNES? Well, do I have the ROM hack for you? Wario's Adventure!
Wario's Adventure is quite an interesting one. It does use elements from the Wario Land series, even with its levels seemingly being pretty much what appears in the first Wario Land, at least for the first one anyway, but it imagines it as a Mario-like platformer. This is honestly really cool. I will say, the Wario model does look weird, but it looks weird for the same reason that Sonic one looked weird, when we put Sonic in the original Super Mario Bros. And there's not really anything that the developer could have done about it. I really enjoy the graphics in this ROM hack. It almost feels like the same graphics that appear in the PC version of Mario is Missing, but I actually quite liked that. It has this like realism to it. I don't know how to describe it, but it just looks nice. The question mark blocks though, I'm pretty sure are just the same ones that appear in New Super Mario Bros. Just in 16-bit form. Oh, and here's another fun thing. This ROM hack has wall jumping. But this isn't the only ROM hack that has the same UI and seemingly same physics. A plumber for all seasons. This ROM hack is quite interesting. The concept behind this ROM hack is that you can experience all the seasons with Mario. But to be honest, this ROM hack really gives me the vibe of what if the Donkey Kong Country developers made a Mario game. That's really what this ROM hack feels like. Everything is redesigned. The star coins from New Super Mario Bros. Appear, there's new enemies, new gimmicks, new things to think about. A plumber for all seasons is another one that I think I'll be playing over on the His Mario Gold channel. One thing I will say though, I don't think I'm a fan of how the levels end. These levels end in a similar way to the levels end in Super Mario Bros. 3, with the background becoming all black with the thing to jump and collect, but there's not even like this fun roulette game, it's just that's it. Every time I come across it, I'm kind of just like, oh, that's the end of the level. Okay. It felt like there wasn't really a build up to the ending, but maybe that's just because I'm used to the way levels end in newer Mario games with the whole flagpole thing. But regardless of that, A Plumber for All Seasons is such a fantastic ROM hack, and I can't wait to experience more of it. I could gush about it all day. The actually good underwater level, the world map, I really like this one. Good job.
And that's my thoughts on a whole new selection of Mario ROM hacks. Once again, if you have any other ROM hacks you'd like me to check out, make sure to let me know down below. I may even cover them in the next time we talk about Mario ROM hacks. And especially considering I didn't cover anything from Super Mario 64, I think there's a large amount of things you could be telling me to play. Now here's a fun fact for you. I actually made a ROM hack of Super Mario Bros. One time. It was basically Small Mario was Pac-Man and Big Mario was Mario but yellow. And it was called Pac-Man and Mario's Adventure, and it was meant to be like whenever you get a mushroom you swap between which character you play as. I bet you couldn't recreate that, right?
Super Mario Bros. 3 is often considered to be a perfect Mario game, or at least one of the best Mario games of all time. From the level of creativity shown from the developers at Nintendo, to the advancement from the original Super Mario Bros. To this. Super Mario Bros. 3 has gone down in history as one of the greatest Mario games of all time, and even one of the best video games of all time.
But what if we made it better? What if we mixed things from across the entire Mario franchise and put it together to make the ultimate Super Mario Bros. 3 ROM hack ever created? Thank God someone else has already done it. I have no idea how to make a Mario ROM hack like that.
I'm of course talking about Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. Developed by YouTuber Captain Southbird, Super Mario Bros. 3 is the definition of the ultimate Mario ROM hack, full of new characters, levels, music, and more. Everything about it is incredible. I spoke about this back when I talked about Mario ROM hacks in March 2025, but I needed to spend some more time with it. Back then I only talked about World 1, but now that I've actually completed the game, we have so much more to talk about.
So hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and let's mix it up a little by talking about a Super Mario Bros. 3 ROM hack. Didn't you forget to say hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back when you were talking about Sonic? Shut up, John.
Beginning with World 1, this world is all themed around the original Super Mario Bros. The first level is just World 1-1 and World 1-2, which is exactly what the first e-reader level of Super Mario Bros. Advance 4 Super Mario Bros. 3 is. And just from this level alone, we discover the entire thing behind this game, remixing things from other Mario games and chucking them in here. This is just such a cool concept, and it becomes even cooler as it goes on. It feels like one big celebration of the Mario franchise, with it all beginning in the first world with the first Super Mario Bros. Something else this game takes from future Mario games is the star coins from the new Super Mario Bros. Games. At the time this ROM hack released, the new Super Mario Bros. Games were the 2D Mario games, as this was made in 2014, literally before Super Mario 3D World. So a lot of the elements from that era of Mario are within this ROM hack. You're not going to find any Wonder Flowers or New Donk City stuff or anything like that.
But that doesn't make it bad.
No. That makes this ROM hack amazing. This ROM hack feels like it's what Sonic Mania was going for, revisiting old locations while introducing new elements in a classic style, in this case being Super Mario Bros. 3. And this was before Sonic Mania. As we continue through World 1, going through all the different levels that are remixed versions of classic Super Mario Bros. Levels, we come across the Mushroom Houses. Mushroom Houses take after what they're like in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, in the sense that it is a bunch of cards. 2 of them have Bowser Jr. on them, and 2 of them have Bowser on them. The other cards have powers on them. You have to match the power cards while not accidentally getting 2 Bowser cards or 2 Bowser Jr. cards. I love this so much. It's just such a cool way to take what was originally in Super Mario Bros. 3 and make it a bit more modern. But speaking of Bowser Jr., guess who's in this game?
King Boo? No. Then who? You gotta subscribe to find that one out. What?
Bowser Jr.'s in this game.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, that adds up. Yeah.
And his role is similar to the way it works in New Super Mario Bros., considering he is the boss of every single final level after World 1. But World 1 of course has you fighting regular Bowser in the same way you fight him in the original Super Mario Bros. The boss fights in this ROM hack become a lot more creative past World 1, but we gotta start with the classic, don't we?
But now we move on to World 2. When I first played this ROM hack, I was going in completely blind. So when I found out that World 2 was based on Super Mario Bros. 2, oh my god! That was insane!
World 2 is all about Super Mario Bros. 2. The first level is of course the very first level from Super Mario Bros. 2, but there's Shy Guys, vines to climb up. It's mostly all here. Water does work differently in this world compared to Super Mario Bros. 2, but that's just because that's how water works in Super Mario Bros. 3. But it's so cool experiencing Super Mario Bros. 2 in such a cool, brand new way. Of course, this world isn't that similar to Super Mario Bros. 2, it does rework a lot of things. It ends with a flagpole instead of Birdo. I mean, there are some Birdo fights and they work great, but it's not at the end of every level. And not only that, there's also other boss fights taken directly from Super Mario Bros. 2. But we're not up to that yet. We've still got one other thing that Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix introduces. Ghost houses. So famously, boos were introduced in Super Mario Bros. 3, but ghost houses themselves were introduced in Super Mario World. Now of course you can be in a ghost house in the Super Mario Bros. 3 theme in Super Mario Maker, but this ROM hack came out before Super Mario Maker. So this ROM hack had to come up with what a ghost house would look like in the Super Mario Bros. 3 format, and it kinda works. Firstly, the boos do look weird. The boos do not look like that in the original Super Mario Bros. 3. I don't know why the graphic was changed. It seems like maybe they were going to make the boos look like the modern incarnation of them, but it just looks weird. The background is also just directly the background from Super Mario World. It almost seems like the background that was used in the Super Mario World bootleg game for the NES, but I guess it just looks like what Super Mario World would look like in an 8-bit format. Duh! It was cool seeing the ghost house in here, but there's something else that this ROM hack does. Something that's been on screen the entire time that you may have not noticed. It's the multiple playable characters. You play as Mario, obviously, Luigi, and Toad. No Princess Peach this time, but that's because you have to go and save her, but that's just how these things work. It's really cool seeing all the other characters too. The characters don't really have their characteristics from Super Mario Bros. 2, so it's just a visual thing like Super Mario Bros. Wonder did with the characters in that game, but it's still cool to see these characters playable in Super Mario Bros. 3 anyway. Now, that boss fight I was talking about, you fight against Wart. Wart is the main villain of Super Mario Bros. 2.
And a villain in The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening.
With Wart being controlled by Bowser Jr. Like, yeah, that's Bowser Jr. from the modern games translated into an 8-bit format, but hey, it makes it fun. World 2 has been so much fun, but thinking about it, because the next world is World 3, that would mean that the next world is themed around Super Mario Bros. 3, right? But how would that work? This is Super Mario Bros. 3.
Well, it's Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. We have to remix the levels.
World 3 of Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix remixes several levels from Super Mario Bros. 3, both with the music being different and the levels being slightly different too. That of course means auto-scrollers are here and other Super Mario Bros. 3 elements are here, but there's also something here from the Super Mario Land series. Yes, that's right, it's the carrot power-up from Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins. And it works exactly like it did in Super Mario Land 2. It's clearly the best power-up in the entire game, no questions asked. This game has a lot of new power-ups, or at least a lot of power-ups from other Mario games being ported back into Super Mario Bros. 3, but hey, why not? One of the boss fights in this world is a giant boo, very similar to the boss fight in Super Mario World, and this one took me way too many attempts to do. It was really cool seeing this boss fight in Super Mario Bros. 3, but I still don't think it really works here. But not everything can be perfect, and it's insanely impressive that this managed to appear in a ROM hack of all things. Another power-up that's also found in this world that you may have noticed is the penguin suit from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. You can definitely tell this ROM hack was made in 2014. The penguin suit in New Super Mario Bros. Wii is an upgraded version of the ice flower, but you can also slide around. And in this game, it's kinda similar to the ice flower. It can also make you swim easier in water, which is something that's also in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and it replaces the frog suit in Super Mario Bros. 3. It's a cool suit, but it really only has very specific use cases. But no matter, World 3 is really just the downtime when it comes to Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix, with the next world being probably the most impressive world out of all of them. But just think about it. What comes after Super Mario Bros. 3?
Super Mario World?
Yep. We're now at a point in the game where the games represented didn't even release on the NES, as now we're representing Super Mario World. In this world, the main gimmick is Yoshi, of course. From what I can see, I think the graphics that this game uses in World 4 are mainly from the famous Super Mario World bootleg game, with the Yoshi graphic maybe even being from Mario is Missing? I'm not sure, but that bootleg game is damn impressive, and this is even more so because it actually has better movement and is just actually a Mario game, and not built from the ground up. Now, not everything is perfect. Yoshi's tongue sometimes stuffs up, but what can you do? Like, at the end of the day, you need to remember that Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix is just a ROM hack for Super Mario Bros. 3. There's some things that just can't be perfect. A lot of things from Super Mario World appear throughout the world, along with things from other Mario games like the bunny suit returning again, the dinosaur things from Super Mario World, and more. But there's something else far cooler than anything else. There's the Mario Brothers bonus games. Yeah, so inside the game, there's pretty much an entire recreation of the original Mario Bros. Arcade game, and it works like, insanely well. You play it occasionally throughout the game, and it's always quite a fun thing to do. There's also this World Zero thing. Anyway, the boss fights though, oh boy, the boss fights. The boss fights have you fight against the rhinos from Super Mario World, and let's just pretend we didn't see that. That doesn't look good, my god. It can't be all perfect. We finally make it to the Bowser Jr. fight, and it's similar to the final boss of Super Mario World. I wouldn't say it's exactly the same, but it's still a lot of fun. I love all the different uses of Yoshi throughout this world. It makes him feel like a true ally in your adventure, more than any other Mario game. It feels like you need Yoshi more than ever before.
But now we move on to World 5. And it's tough to figure out what this world is based on. I think it's mainly based on Super Mario Land, but it's got a few other things in there too, just to spice it up a little.
The first level is definitely inspired by Super Mario Land. It's even got those little lion things that jump around and shoot you. Later in World 5, we also have a level seemingly inspired by Super Mario Bros. 2 again. How fun! And then as you go on, it kind of meshes all of these different ideas together. You could say it mixes them all together. It's surprising how well Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Land mesh together. I think both Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Land have semi-similar ideas. Super Mario Bros. 2 is of course a game that doesn't take place in the Mushroom Kingdom and introduces a whole new collection of characters like the Shy Guys and more. And then there was of course Super Mario Land, which had Sarasa Land. I think those ideas work well together, and this game proves it. The world ends with you fighting the snake from Super Mario Bros. 2, but the boss fight is a lot easier here, as you just jump on his head. But then after that we have quite an interesting world, one that skips over a few of the other Mario games, and moves all the way to the GameCube.
You know the plot of Super Mario Sunshine, right? Cleaning up all the mess that Bowser Shadow Mario created. Well, what if we put it in Super Mario Bros. 3? That's what this, do you not get the point of the video? That's what this is.
World 6 is based on Super Mario Sunshine, and it's so unbelievably cool. You get to go through Isle Delfino, get thrown by piantas while avoiding the crabs from Mario Bros. It's just genuinely such a cool concept. But then we move on to level 3, and this one's inspired by a completely different game. This is of course the NB Bricks level from Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins.
NB Bricks is Nintendo's ripoff of Lego that they used to make before they made video games.
This is so cool. Super Mario Land 2 on the Game Boy is not in color, so it's cool seeing this game in its full glory in Super Mario Bros. 3. Now once again, this level isn't perfect, there's a few graphical errors, but this is a ROM hack, it's not going to be perfect. The castle level is also seemingly inspired by jungle levels from New Super Mario Bros. And New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which is quite unique to see. It kind of reminds me of Wario Land, which I may or may not talk about next week. These types of levels are everywhere in Mario Land, where it's a castle type level, but it's just a normal level that's kind of hard. It's really cool to see. And the person you fight, it's Petey Piranha! Now obviously this boss fight is not going to be like Super Mario Sunshine, I don't even know how that would work in a 2D plane, but it's just so cool. The ghost house of this world is also super cool. It's introducing flipping gravity around, which may or may not reappear in World 7 or something. It was super cool. The Bowser Jr. fight is once again pretty much the same as the World 4 one, but without Yoshi, but who cares? It was so cool to see Petey Piranha that I don't mind.
But now we move on to World 7, and this world is inspired by one of the greatest Mario games of all time. A game that has one of the most incredible video game soundtracks of all time. I mean, you can hear it right now. I can? It'll be edited over. I'm of course talking about Super Mario Galaxy, by the way, if you didn't pick up on that.
Yes, World 7 is literally inspired by Super Mario Galaxy, and it's incredible. Anything Super Mario Galaxy themed just gives that sense of wonder. That sense of, oh my god, this is incredible. And I'll talk about it when I eventually get to talking about Super Mario Galaxy, but World 7 is easily the best world in Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix by far. Not all the levels are jumping from planet to planet, of course. Some of them are just fun other levels, like the second level being a recreation of the first and second levels of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, but in the really big form. Yeah, we even got Lost Levels representation. But I just love seeing all the different themes of all the different galaxies you go through. All the different elements that were transferred over from Super Mario Galaxy. It's just so damn cool. And after you beat Bowser Jr., You know who shows up at the end? It's Rosalina! She tells us that Peach has been taken to the center of the universe, just like Super Mario Galaxy. It's so cool seeing Rosalina in this game.
And now we're at the final world. World 8. This world isn't inspired by any specific Mario game, instead it's a gauntlet of every single thing you've learned, with every single theme, all leading up to the final Bowser fight. That's right, it's levels from Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Can I do it? Let's figure it out. Let's beat World 8.
Level 1 is of course inspired by World 8 of Super Mario Bros. In fact, it's just the first 3 levels of World 8 from Super Mario Bros. This one's hard, but I made it through. Next is the final level of Super Mario Bros. 2, and oh, I glitched through the wall, and now I got to the final boss of the level without actually playing it. That level was pretty easy. Level 3 is one of the harder levels from World 8 of Super Mario Bros. 3, but even harder this time. But I played that final world of Super Mario Bros. 3 that many times that this level is really just a breeze. But that wasn't the end of the level. We also got this ghost house area to go through too, and that was really cool. Level 4 has us play through a level that's inspired by Super Mario World. This one was also a breeze, but sadly I lost Yoshi halfway through. Such a shame. We then move on to Super Mario Land's level, and this one's pretty basic. And the next level is more of the same, but instead in the Super Mario Sunshine cross Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins theme. And the final level of the gauntlet was a Super Mario Galaxy level, and this one I died way too many times in. I mean, it was my own fault most of the time, but I just did not understand it, like, at all. It made no sense to me. We don't need to talk about how I couldn't understand how gravity works. It's finally time to move on to the final level of the entire game. This level is yet another gauntlet, but instead all in one level. It takes everything you've learnt from throughout your experience and throws it all in your face. It takes elements of all the different Mario games, and it's just such a cool experience. And then the final boss is pretty much the same final boss from Super Mario Bros. 3, so I don't know what you were expecting here. You have to make Bowser jump in the lava, but you have less blocks to be able to do so, which makes it a tad bit harder. But it wasn't that hard. It ended quite quickly, in fact. And after all that, Mario, Luigi, and Toad save Princess Peach, the Mushroom Kingdom, and the Galaxy. And the credits roll.
Not only is Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix one of the most ambitious Mario ROM hacks of all time, it's also up there with like actual Mario games. From remixing things that appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3 and the previous games before it, to introducing the things from future Mario games back into Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix is an incredible Mario ROM hack. Nay, an incredible Mario experience. I genuinely recommend this ROM hack to anyone that wants a new Mario experience. There's a link in the description, obviously, so you can check it out there. But I didn't understand that one level in World 8, so screw you, Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix!
Super Mario Bros. Released in 1985 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. And although it wasn't the first Mario game, it was the first one that could be played at home on Nintendo's own platform. From then on, people have been dreaming about making their own Mario game, coming up with ideas, mechanics, and more. Mario fans have always dreamed of wanting to make their own game. Of course, nowadays you can just make a Mario Maker level, but that of course has certain limitations, things you can't do due to it not appearing in any other Mario game, and especially not in the Mario games that Mario Maker is built around. And you can't even come up with your own enemies or anything, you have to stick to those specific styles.
One way to get around this, of course, is by making a ROM hack. Something I've covered on the channel quite a few times in the past. But there's actually another way to do it, and that's making your own Mario games. Yeah, Mario fan games. From the incredible to the bad to the weird, hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and let's cover Mario fan games. Make sure to subscribe.
To start us off, I thought I'd go through some of the ones I played as a kid. Back when I was in my early years of schooling, there was a computer inside the after and before school care area. Now this wasn't like some of the other computers found in the computer lab. Those computers had games like Math Circus and the such on it. No, this one was actually filled with flash games. This computer was the best place to play games at school. I mean, there was a Wii where for some reason everyone wanted to play Mario Sports Mix, and I had to try and convince them to play Mario Mario Kart Wii instead, and then they replaced it with a PlayStation 2, which made no sense because that is even older than the Wii, because at this point the Wii U was out. But whatever. The computer had unlimited possibilities. One of the games I loved on this computer was a game called Cube Field, a classic Flash game where all you have to do is avoid the coloured spaces as this little triangle thing. It was really simple, but a lot of fun. But this computer also had some Mario Flash games on it. Quite a few actually. Now, were any of these games good?
God no! But some of them were okay.
Super Mario Flash. This one and its sequels are such classics. They take the SNES Mario games, specifically the first two, Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario World, and just remix the entire thing. Now, is it as good as a regular Mario game? No, but it is a solid attempt to recreate the classic Mario gameplay, and the fact that it's done in Flash is so interesting. These were always the games I'd play if I couldn't find anything else. They weren't fantastic, but still. One I did play a bit as well was Super Mario Moto. Super Mario Moto is where you're Mario on a motorbike and you have to not die. It kind of mixes the style of New Super Mario Bros., most likely the latest Mario game out at that point in time, and the music from Super Mario All-Stars again. It's quite a lot of fun to be honest, but there's so many Flash games and other games like this, and to be honest, they're probably better. This Flash game sometimes plays the music on top of each other as well, and it's a bit odd. Another classic Mario Flash game is Supersized Mario Brothers. There's not much going on here.
Okay, so I actually have a story attached to this game. Back in 2014, one of my friends had his own YouTube channel, and he liked to play a lot of Flash games on that channel, and one of them was this very game, and that's actually how I discovered it. I think it may have been because I kept asking him to play a Mario game, I'm not exactly sure, but probably. But yeah, he just loved making videos either playing Flash games or playing Pokemon Leaf Green through an emulator, acting as if he was the very first person to discover the concept of an emulator. So that's the story, that's the end of the story.
Next is a game called Jelly Mario Bros. Wow! This game is pretty simple, all things considered. It's the original Super Mario Bros., but instead everything is made out of jelly. But what does that mean exactly? Well, I think it's pretty simple. Everything can be maneuvered. Pipes, coins, bricks, everything just moves like jelly. Now this one isn't a Flash game, but let's be honest, it fits the generic Flash game vibe, so I don't think it would fit in any other category I put in this video. A lot of Mario fan games are like this, just taking the original Super Mario Bros. And putting a spin on it. This one, titled Super Mario Bros., has the spin that it's just Super Mario Bros., but in widescreen, and has a thing where you can auto-generate levels. But also, for some reason, Mario has the same physics as Luigi in Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. I couldn't tell you why, but I guess that makes it a little bit more interesting. The more interesting recreation of the original Super Mario Bros. Is the Super Mario Crossover series. Yes, there's 3 games in this series. It all began with the first Super Mario Crossover made by Exploding Rabbit. The first game has you play as either Mario, Link, Simon Belmont, Samus, Mega Man, or the guy from Contra. Depending on what character you play as depends on how the game actually works. Mario, of course, works like Mario, Mega Man works like Mega Man in a Mega Man game, Samus works like a Metroid game, etc, etc. Super Mario Crossover is such a unique way to play the original Super Mario Bros., but it begins to step things up with its sequel, Super Mario Crossover 2. Super Mario Crossover 2 is basically the same thing, but it adds Ryu from Ninja Gaiden and the car from Blaster Master. However, it didn't work properly for me, but it's exactly the same as the previous one, it's just got more characters. But it really steps itself up when we get to Super Mario Crossover 3. This one completely redoes everything. Not only can you play through the original Super Mario Bros., you can also play through Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels and Super Mario Bros. Special. Genuinely crazy. And not only that, there's a million more characters and themes. There's so many characters in this game, like genuinely an insane amount of characters, so I'll list them all. But before I begin this list, just know that some of these characters are just costumes for the other characters. The characters available to play are Mario, Toad, Demon Prince Luigi, Peach, Link, Dark Link, Zelda, Ralph, Old Man, Hero, Heroine, Christine, Edric, Rojo, Loto, Cecil, Bartz, Benjamin, Samus, Zero Suit Samus, Dark Samus, Pit, Dark Pit, Simon Belmont, Trevor Belmont, Richter Belmont, Christopher Belmont, Solivu, Sonia Belmont, Whip Skeleton, Alex, Canu, Mega Man, Rock, Quint, Proto Man, Breakman, Roll, Dr. Light, Cutman, Fireman, Iceman, Francesca, Dorothy, Rocco-chan, Bass, Dr. Wily, Mr. X, Dr. Cossack, Quickman, Gemini Man, Skullman, Bill Riser, Lance Bean, RD008, RC011, Ryu Clone, Havity, KD, Shadow, Haggleman, Sophia the Third, Sophia J7, and Tetramino. But as I said, there's also themes. A lot of the characters also have skins too that fit in with these themes, but I won't go into them because it's the same as the themes pretty much. The themes are Super Mario Bros., Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario Land 2 DX, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. Special, Super Mario Bros. Batatari, Blaster Master, Castlevania, Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link, and Demon Returns.
Don't worry, we're done with the lists now.
All the variety in Super Mario Crossover 3 just makes it one of the best Mario fan games of all time. There's just so much content in this game, and it works so well. Like, yeah, you could just play through Super Mario Bros. As Mario in the Super Mario Bros. Theme, but why not play through Super Mario Bros. Special as Dr. Wily in the Castlevania theme?
All of these Flash and Flashlight games weren't the only Mario fan games I played as a kid. There's actually a few other fan Mario games I played when I was a kid too. Some of these games were made to enhance what other Mario games could do, and some of them were made to add completely new things to the game.
One of these games is known as Mari Zero. Mari Zero is basically just what if Mario had a portal gun. You know, from Portal. I love Portal. I've made videos in the past about how I think the first two Portal games are absolutely perfect in every way possible, and I tell you why they work. But there's so much more outside of the first two Portal games in the Portal community. And one of the first things I played outside of the first two Portal games in the Portal community was Mari Zero. Mari Zero comes with the first Super Mario Bros., but with a portal gun, and then there's this other map pack where you can play through Portal test chambers, but in a 2D format. These are alright, it mixes elements from Portal 1 and Portal 2, but I wouldn't say it's that great. But where this game really opens up is the level editor. The level editor allows you to completely create your own map pack with Mario elements and Portal elements, as well as being able to add your own custom elements too, whether it be tiles, music, backgrounds. You could pretty much add anything to the map pack to make it your own. This game is honestly incredible. Even the bonus map packs that you can play when you get the game are so much fun. There's so much creativity that can be put into this game. So much so that they were actually making a newer version of the game known as Mari Zero Special Edition. However, this eventually got cancelled, so we never got to see the new editions. I do remember that at one point I did somehow have this game, whether it be leaked or something, I'm not exactly sure, but I remember some of the things that Mari Zero SE added, such as vertical levels and more. But there's an even cooler version of the game that is more recent, known as Mari Zero AE. Mari Zero AE adds daily challenges, things from Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 2, more customizable stuff. It's just so much fun. A while ago I actually attempted to make a map pack for this version of the game called Super Mario Story, an idea I've had in my head since I was about 5. Okay, well it's not the same idea. The idea I had in my head was for Nintendo to make a game called Super Mario Story where it's a collection of every single Mario game that's ever been made, yes that includes Mario's Bombs Away on the Game & Watch, and put it basically in story order, having you play through all the games as if they're one giant story.
I think I've always really liked combining things. One day I'll finish my video where I tell you the complete history of media. It's just gonna be maybe 48 hours long and come out about 10 years from now. But one day...
So what I did in Mario AE is basically combine things from other Mario games and turn them into one bigger game, taking elements from Super Mario Bros. 3, World, New Super Mario Bros., all that fun stuff. I only ever made World 1, but it was so cool having all of these different options that I could add into the game. But that actually brings me to another duo of games where there was so much creativity that you could do with it, and make your own levels and all of that, and that was Super Mario Bros. X. Super Mario Bros. X takes on an SNES art style. taking elements from all of the Super Mario All-Stars games and Super Mario World, and combining it with elements from New Super Mario Bros. Wii and other random Mario games. With this, you can make the ultimate 2D Mario game. For some unknown reason, a lot of the music that you can use is music from like Super Mario 64 and Super Mario RPG. This game is actually where I first heard a lot of the music from Super Mario RPG, such as the famous Beware of the Forest Mushrooms. You know the song. I loved Super Mario Bros. X when I was younger, to the point where I once again decided to make my own game, or whatever you want to call it, with me naming it Super Mario Bros. 4.
Yes, I know in Japan that Super Mario World is Super Mario Bros. 4, okay? I know that now, but do you really think I knew that when I was, 8? I'm not joking, I was 8. Why would I have known all this very specific I probably did know it. You can see videos from when I was 8 on this channel. I probably knew that.
Now, I wish I could find this again, although if you're looking at it right now, that means I somehow found footage of it. But it was really weird. I didn't think I really understood how making a world map worked, so I kinda just made a path into darkness. There was also a whole Sonic themed level. I don't think I really understood what would be in a Super Mario Bros. 4. But no matter, I love Super Mario Bros. X all the same. I will say, I think I love the creation in Mario Zero more than Super Mario Bros. X, but I love that Bros. X added so much more stuff to work with. But that's when we get to something very interesting. Super Mario Bros. X eventually stopped development, leading to a fan-made sequel called Super Mario Bros. X 2, which adds even more possibilities, which is very clear in the demo levels that they made, which shows you all the different characters that people in the Super Mario Bros. X2 community had made. There's Wario, Bowser, Zelda, and so many other weird characters. Like, genuinely, this is so cool. There's not that much different between the two in most cases, but Super Mario Bros. X2 just has so much more possibilities. You've got to check these ones out. Especially X2, as you can't find the original anymore, officially.
But why can't you play Super Mario Bros. X anymore? Well, it may have been taken down by Nintendo, but it may not have been. There's conflicting results or whatever. But it's a story for another day. But there's actually another Mario fan game that's been taken down by Nintendo, and one that's very famous for being taken down by Nintendo.
No Mario Sky is based on, obviously, Mario and No Man's Sky. It was created for a game jam and was developed in 72 hours. No Mario Sky became an almost instant hit, and people loved it. Nintendo shut it down quite quickly, and the game became DMCA Sky, kinda removing all the Mario elements, visually anyway, before I'm pretty sure that shut down too. No Mario Sky though is actually quite interesting. You start on basically a recreation of World 1-1 from Super Mario Bros. But then at the end, you can shoot yourself into space and land on a bunch of different auto-generated planets that take things from the overworld of Super Mario Bros. It's cool seeing all of these different planets, seeing how these planets change things, like how sometimes the Goombas look different, but after the third planet, you begin to realize there's not that much to do. I think this was a problem with No Man's Sky 2, at least when it first came out, that there was just not that much to do, but the fact that this was made in 72 hours? Oh my god, that's impressive. It would be kinda cool seeing an actual Mario game like this, but considering the one time Nintendo attempted to do something similar to this was with Endless Ocean Luminous, and it wasn't that good, maybe doing games like this just aren't that fun. But there's another Mario fan game out there that isn't all that fun. And do you wanna know what it is?
Cat Mario. Goddamn Cat Mario. You've seen this one before. It's the one that all the YouTubers would play in like 2014 and be like, ah, no, I can't do it. How do I play this game? You know, like that.
Cat Mario has you play as this cat, and play through the original Super Mario Bros., except every single thing is a trap. Like, everything is a trap. Every single element of this game is a trap. Pipes, question mark blocks, the air, anything. It's a trap. This game is popular on all of those re-uploading Flash game websites, and I imagine you played it in class on some of those unblocked games websites. Don't think I don't know about them, because I use them. The point of this game is to try and remember the exact motions of what you're supposed to do, and follow it exactly every single time you play through the level. It's more a memory game than a rage game. It's really like some classic games. It's pattern recognition, just like Kaizo ROM hacks for Super Mario Mario World and such. Some people are just really good at these.
Not me though. Have you seen the footage that you're looking at? Yikes.
Look, if you want to try it out, you can. It's hard, but it's manageable.
But now we're up to the 2 final games, and these 2 are genuinely incredible.
The first is one called Bowl Deluxe, being a Mario and Sonic fan game that combines the gameplay of Mario games and Sonic games, along with some other things like Wario gameplay. This is a completely original game that honestly I think you guys should experience for yourself. Every single character plays completely differently. All the graphics are incredible. Some levels are more Sonic themed than Mario themed, because this is also a Sonic game at the end of the day. Bowl Deluxe is a fan game you just need to check out, because if you don't, I don't know what you're doing. This game was also made in an ancient version of Game Maker. I had a look through all of it, and granted, I don't have some of the same plugins, so things didn't exactly appear correctly, but it's so cool seeing how this game was coded and made. Now apparently this game is being upgraded to a more modern engine, considering this one's from like 2008 or something, but considering the game works so well right now, I can't imagine what the new engine version will bring.
And the final fan game is one that I've had my eyes on for literally half a decade, if not longer. It's called Mario Multiverse.
Mario Multiverse is an expanded version of Super Mario Maker, and has so much stuff in it. So many game themes, so much more customization, and finally after years the first demo released, and it only has a Super Mario Bros. Theme. But even with the Super Mario Bros. Theme, this has so much stuff in it compared to Super Mario Maker. It has way too much stuff, it's insane. There's beta versions that the developers can give you, and other creators have them, but I've never gotten access to them. So as a plea to the developers to get early access, I'll give you anything.
Here's a trade offer, Mario Multiverse devs. I'll post 1 video a month playing Mario Multiverse on the His Mario Gold channel, which that channel only has about 4 videos a month, so that would mean one of them is playing your game. And, bonus, I'll make an entire video on this channel covering Mario Multiverse. You got yourself a deal? Woo! Yeah! Good deal! What do you think, Luigi? Sounds about right.
Sonic the Hedgehog has a large fan community.
We all know how they are.
From the fan art to the fan animations to the fan games, the Sonic fanbase is quite a loud fanbase, but a fanbase that loves the content that's made. But sometimes there isn't enough Sonic in the world, so they have to make ROM hacks. From ROM hacks that add Knuckles to Sonic 1, to ones that fix Sonic 3D Blast. The ROM hacks for the classic Sonic games are some of the most fun ways to experience the original Sonic games.
So hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and let's look at the best Sonic ROM hacks. You know, just like the title says. Make sure to subscribe.
Now firstly, I played all of these ROM hacks on the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis collection that's now delisted on Steam. This had a workshop that had a bunch of re-uploaded ROM hacks that were definitely not made by the people that uploaded them, but no matter, in the description of the video you're currently watching, I have listed the original uploads, and credited everyone.
You are welcome!
Anyway, I bring this up because some of the most popular ROM hacks that were uploaded were ones that basically replaced the main character, Sonic, with another character. Sometimes they're quite basic, like the Metal Sonic in Sonic 1, which plays exactly the same way as Sonic 1. Pretty simple, right? But then there's ones that completely change the gameplay. Well, okay, Orange Sonic in Sonic 2 isn't that different, he's just orange this time round. That's about as much as I can say about Orange Sonic. But then there's ROM hacks like Knuckles in Sonic 1, Pikachu in Sonic 1, Kirby in Sonic 2. These ones are really interesting. Let's begin with Knuckles in Sonic 1. Knuckles in future Sonic games obviously plays quite differently to Sonic and Tails. Sonic's the fast one, Tails is the one that can fly, and Knuckles can glide and crawl up walls and such. This became the big gimmick once adding the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge to Sonic 2, where the gameplay became completely different because you were playing as Knuckles instead of Sonic and Tails. So the gameplay being completely different changed the way Sonic 2 was played, but Knuckles was never added to Sonic 1. Well, originally. Until now. This ROM hack adds Knuckles with all of his little quirks into Sonic 1, and I can kinda see why he wasn't in it. Sonic 2 has the advantage that it already had a flying character, so the levels were created accordingly, whereas Knuckles can't do that, so the levels just don't really work with Knuckles' playstyle. Still, it's a cool experience to play Sonic 1 as Knuckles, but it won't be my main way of playing Sonic 1, but that all changes when you add Pikachu to Sonic 1.
Pikachu? Really?
Yes, Pikachu. Now you may think that this is just exactly the same as Sonic 1, and to be fair, it kinda is, but there's one huge difference. Of course, all the animations are different because you're a completely different character, duh, but there's also this charge at the side. Now what does it do? I don't know, I couldn't get it to work. But I imagine that it will make your attacks a little bit more powerful. Some of these levels though are extremely short, like literally 20 seconds or something. And of course you collect Pokeballs instead of rings. Quite a basic Sonic ROM hack, but a fun one at that. If you're looking to change up your Sonic 1 playthrough, check out either Pikachu or Knuckles. Just note that once you get to Marble Zone in the Pikachu one, it's basically impossible.
We'll get back to the character ROM hacks in a bit, but first we need to check out some ROM hacks that attempt to fix problems that games have. One of which being Sonic 3D Blast Director's Cut. Now here's a fun thing. I haven't really played Sonic 3D Blast that much, like the original version. So, if you become a member right now, you'll get an exclusive Sonic 3D Blast gameplay video. It's available right now for the lowest tier, so become a member today. Anyway,
let's fix the old Sonic games. Firstly, there's a ROM hack titled Sonic 1 without the lame levels nobody likes, which completely removes the levels that nobody likes. I don't know what you were expecting. Is this the best way to play Sonic 1? No. But, like, if you've played it before and you hate Marble Zone with a burning passion, you're probably gonna like this ROM hack. But there are other ROM hacks that attempt to actually fix these games more than just remove some levels, specifically with Sonic 3D Blast. Now without going through a full history lesson of Sonic 3D Blast, the original game wasn't developed by Sega and was instead commissioned by Sega to be developed by Traveler's Tales and was developed in 8 months because Sonic Extreme, the cancelled Sonic game for the Sega Saturn, just wasn't doing well. The game released and at the time people kinda liked it, but looking back it wasn't really that good, so the original lead programmer of the Mega Drive/Genesis version created a director's cut in 2017. And I mean it's better, I guess, but it's still Sonic 3D Blast, so it's not that good. But if you're ever gonna play Sonic 3D Blast, I would suggest picking the director's cut. It's the just best version of the game, so why would you not pick the director's cut? This may be the forgotten Sonic game on the Genesis, but it's kinda worth playing.
But there's a far more famous Sonic ROM hack. One for what you guys consider to be the best classic Sonic game, and it's called Sonic 3 Complete.
This really is Sonic 3 Complete. It has everything. Now obviously the normal complete version of Sonic 3 is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where you can add the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge to Sonic 3 through lock-on technology. But in some cases, adding Sonic and Knuckles to Sonic 3 through lock-on technology makes it worse. Like, not that much worse of course, but Sonic 3 Complete attempts to fix that. The music is fixed, unless you like the PC port's changed music for some reason. You can select that. It's the same music you hear in Sonic Origins. The zones are placed in the right order to make the transition between the levels make far more sense. There's bug fixes, features from the Sonic Jam version of Sonic 3. Blue Spheres is its own game. You can change the graphics of Sonic to make him look like what he does in Sonic 1 or Sonic 2. Sonic 3 Complete is truly the complete version of Sonic 3, and 100% the best way to play it. Sega will never do anything like this, and that's not a slight against Sega, that's just how it is. Normally fans, when it comes to fixing games like this, will be able to have more options because they just have more freedom compared to Sega themselves. That's what happened with games like Sonic Origins and Super Mario 3D All-Stars. The fan versions of these games in those collections are better because the fans can just do so much more without the pushback from the companies that made the original games. So that's why it is interesting when we get things like Sonic Origins and Super Mario 3D All-Stars and Mega Man Legacy collections, whatever it is, we get to see what the original developers were allowed to do. In Sonic Origins' case, we get to see these Sonic games officially in widescreen, and hear the music change in Sonic 3. Of course though, Sonic 3 Complete is the far better way to play Sonic 3, and there are other versions of this for Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, but they're more fan games than ROM hacks because they're kind of modded on top of the mobile ports, so they don't really count. Sorry!
Sometimes people make their own adventures through older Sonic games. For example, Sonic 1 The Next Level.
And this ROM hack is crazy. No, seriously, it is not what you would expect at all. Sonic 1 The Next Level is a slightly slower based Sonic game, taking place in this space area with low gravity. And it's more about puzzles and less so about speed. It feels more like a Sonic CD-like game. It's a short ROM hack, sure. It's literally the next level after Sonic 1, to the point where the original version of the ROM hack was just gonna have the entirety of Sonic 1 with an extra level at the end. That would have been a bit stupid though, so I see why it was changed. It's just a crazy ROM hack, I'm not gonna lie. It's one that's really hard to describe, but it's one you just need to experience. So instead of describing the ROM hack, here's a fun little story about the ROM hack. In 2020, Netflix released a documentary called High Score, which covered the history of video games. Something I'll eventually make a video on. Anyway, in the 4th episode, which covered Nintendo and Sega's rivalry in the 90s, during one point, they show footage of Sonic 1 The Next Level. Why? Nobody really knows. Some people think that maybe they thought it was footage of Sonic 1, but you would have thought that the people working on this documentary would know that it's not Sonic 1.
Sonic Racing is such a popular sub-series of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. No doubt about it. It literally started all the way back with Sonic Drift on the Game Gear, but they never made a Sonic Racing game for the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis. But what if they did? And it was a ROM hack for a Sonic game.
Well, let me introduce you to Sonic Racing Mega Drive. It is just racing around a track forever trying to beat your time. Like, it's not fantastic, but the fact that this is a ROM hack for a Sonic game, this is insane. Sonic Racing Mega Drive is so crazy, but like, if you would expect me to say like anything else, I don't know, I don't know what you want, because there's nothing on the track, it's Green Hill, that's it.
But going back to ROM hacks that don't change that much, Sonic 1 Remastered.
Look, saying it doesn't change much is a little bit rude. Sonic 1 Remastered completely reinvents what Sonic 1 is, somewhat. It feels more like a game made for the Sega CD, with updated graphics, Sonic running like he does in Sonic 3, and a few other things have been changed as well. Sonic 1 Remastered is truly Sonic 1 Remastered. Another interesting take on Sonic 1 is putting modern Sonic into Sonic 1. Now this isn't really the same modern Sonic we see in games like Sonic Generations or whatever, more so the Sonic from like the Sonic Rush games and the such. But this is such an interesting way to play through Sonic 1. My only genuine problem with this one, genuinely, the only one, is that Sonic is way too fast. Kinda crazy that the problem with Sonic is that he's too fast, but it's a genuine concern, as if Sonic goes too fast, the screen doesn't catch up, which you would think would be fine, and it mostly is. But there's some sections where he goes out of frame completely, and you die because the screen thinks you're out of bounds. I died because I went too fast in a Sonic game.
This isn't a problem in any other Sonic game, or at least not anything that I've encountered before. I know it can happen, but you would have to be going extremely fast for it to happen, and that's not something I normally do. So I think it's the ROM hack, and it's kind of funny to die because you're doing too well.
But if you're still interested in playing a complete reinvention of Sonic while the levels still are the same, you could play Sonic Classic Heroes. Inspired by Sonic Heroes, Sonic Classic Heroes allows you to play through all of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 as either Team Sonic or Team Chaotix. In Team Sonic, there's of course Sonic, Knuckles and Tails, who all have their own way of platforming, with Sonic being the normal one, Knuckles gliding, and Tails flying. Then there's also Charmy, Espio, and Vector. They all have their own different ways of playing. It's not exactly the same as Team Sonic, but they are kinda similar. They all have their own equivalent. Honestly, the best character to play as is Charmy, because it's so easy to cheese the entire game. But it was weird because the levels, they rebuilt some parts because they knew that you would try and cheat. They would change some parts to allow the characters to have exclusive areas and the such. It's a whole lot of fun. Sonic Classic Heroes is quite a fun way to play through both of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, especially after you've already played the games. It's so much fun.
But what if, and hear me out here, we got rid of Knuckles, but we still played the Knuckles Sonic 2 thing, like when you put the Sonic 2 cartridge on top of the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, What if we played that version of Sonic 2, but without Knuckles?
So when adding Knuckles into Sonic 2 with a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, it changes some things around in the game. But what if we play as Sonic and Tails? What does it change?
I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't tell. They look the same. I don't know what you expect from me, but But what if Mario in Sonic?
What?
What if Mario in Sonic? The hell are you talking about? You know Mario, right? Yes, I know about the video game character Mario. What if in Sonic?
This ROM hack adds Mario into Sonic, and it's actually a bit more interesting than you would think. Instead of just replacing Sonic's model with Mario, this ROM hack attempts to add Mario's moves from the Super Mario All-Stars version of Super Mario Bros., along with a few other things from other Mario games on the SNES to attempt to truly make Mario within the first Sonic game. Now, I wouldn't actually play through Sonic 1 like this. Most people wouldn't. You're so slow. It really shows how Mario is so much slower than Sonic. Like when you play Sonic 1 compared to Super Mario All-Stars, Mario is so slow. Sega always promoted their blast processing, telling us that Sonic is faster than the speed of sound. And you know what? Maybe this guy's actually quite fast, because Mario is so slow. This ROM hack actually is a bit challenging. Like it can be hard to get Mario up some slopes. It's quite a simple ROM hack, but it's really interesting seeing a completely different playstyle within Sonic. Speaking of which,
what if Kirby in Sonic 2? Now that's a good idea.
Kirby in Sonic 2 adds Kirby into Sonic 2. Honestly, these Sonic ROM hacks are making me go a bit mad at this point. Like, it is just what it says. It's Kirby in Sonic 2. Kirby has the ability to fly, suck up enemies and all that, and it should become useful here. You would really think so, but I ended up just doing the exact same moves I would do if I was playing as Sonic. You end up not really sucking up enemies all that often, like it doesn't really become that helpful as you can defeat enemies in other ways. The other cool thing is that you have a Waddle Dee following you the entire time, which kinda takes the role of Tails. So Kirby can't actually completely fly, because the Waddle Dee kinda takes that spot, I guess. But still, Kirby in Sonic 2 is such a unique way to play through Sonic 2 that if you're ever looking for a new way to play through a Sonic game, this is the way.
Alright, here's the deal. I have so many more Sonic ROM hacks to talk about, genuinely, like an insane amount of Sonic ROM hacks to talk about, just for the classic games alone. And then if you move on to the further game, you get the point, there's a lot of Sonic ROM hacks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this exact moment in time as a time to time travel back to, so we can continue on from now as if it's the same episode. It's time travel. We're going to be doing some time travel in a future episode to come back to now so we can talk about more Sonic ROM hacks. This is a very convoluted way of saying this is the last ROM hack and it's about time travel. It's called Sonic Back in Time. Wow.
Sonic Back in Time takes the first Sonic game and portrays it like Sonic CD does, with the first act being the future, the second one being the present, and the third and final act being the past. This does change Green Hill Zone and the such, but this is more about looking into the visuals and seeing how it changes through all the different time periods. It's really cool seeing Sonic 1 like this. The boss fight at the end of Dream Island, or Green Hill, or whatever you want to call it, is really hard. Like, insanely hard. Like, one of the hardest things I've ever done. I didn't even beat it. I couldn't beat it. How the hell are you meant to beat Dr. Robotnik here? Either way, this ROM hack is such a unique way to look at the original Sonic, and I really think you guys should check it out. Some of the graphics and the such that the developers managed to do on an original Sega Mega Drive, mainly during the opening credits, is so interesting to look at. ROM hackers have really made these Sonic games so much more fun to replay over and over and over again.
And that's Sonic ROM hacks. Well, some of them anyway. As I said, we're going to do the time travel thing. We'll get to it in a bit. Well, in the future. Time travel. You get it. Sonic has such a big fan base that these ROM hacks are never gonna stop being made. Like, it's gonna go on forever. Even though I didn't get to cover everything I wanted to today, by the time we get back to it, there will probably be another, like, 100 ROM hacks to play anyway, so, you know. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like Luigi and Sonic? Yes, John, like Luigi and Sonic. That would be my literal dream. Genuinely, I would love it. I would love to play as Luigi and Sonic. That would be awesome. Please give it to me. Thank you.